What's up, family? Man, it's hot out here. It's freaking Africa hot out here. Um, I get asked a lot, man, Elijah. You always talk about meditation, and man, I need to learn how to calm my mind, and man, my mind's just all over the place. I can't go to sleep. I can't shut off the noise, and man, it's just whoop de whoop de whoop. Man, I get contacted about that all the time. Family, when I was younger, I was a deep thinker, and I used to think, man, I thought all the time, it's like, man, my mind was always going, always spinning. And I prided myself on that, the fact that, man, I was a deep thinker and that my mind was always spinning and that I was always thinking. I thought that was a good thing. You know what I mean? Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. I couldn't shut my mind off at night. And I thought it was just because I was so wise, I was so smart, my mind was constantly spinning all these great ideas and whoop de whoop de whoop, you know what I mean? Man, I had no clue. I had no clue until I started meditating. Until I started meditating. And the problem that most people have when they begin meditating is that they try to shut their mind off. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere, okay? Family, stop beating yourself up over trying to shut your mind off. Okay? The Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee from you. That's so profound. That's so deep. Stay with me. Stay with me. And what do I mean by resist the devil and he'll flee from you? Man, family, you can't control the thoughts that come to your mind. You can't control that at all. You can't stop all these different thoughts from your childhood, from broken relationships, from whatever. You can't stop these thoughts from coming to your mind. Stay with me. It's not about controlling what comes to your mind. Okay? You can't stop that. But what you can do is learn to sit in it. What do I mean? It's like taking a rock and throwing it in a pond. It's going to be a ripple. There's going to be a ripple effect. You know what I mean? It's going to vibrate throughout the water. Okay? From that one rock, that one pebble. That's what your mind is. Your mind is the pond. The thoughts are these pebbles. So you get one rock after another rock, after another rock, after another rock, after another rock. And what happens is you got all these rocks, all these thoughts, sending vibrations throughout your entire mind. Stayed with me. I'm going somewhere. Okay? What I had to learn, just speak for me, what I had to learn was that, hey, I can't control these thoughts. And the more you try to control the thoughts, the worse it gets for you. You know what I mean? The more you try to stop the thoughts from coming into your mind, the more they come to you, the more agitated you get because you can't stop them. Why do I say resist the devil and he'll flee from you? Why is that such a deep and profound statement? Resist the edge, resist the temptation to try to control those thoughts. Okay? You can't stop any idea from coming to your mind, but you can respond. You can control how you respond to it. When I meditate, when I'm in meditation, and I say a lot that I'm a walking meditation, man, I thought it come to my mind. And if I don't want to think about it, I'll sit there. Hmm, okay, interesting. And then I'll choose to think about something else. Say that again. A thought will come to my mind. that I don't want to think about. I'll sit there. That's interesting. I wonder why this came to me right now. Is this a distraction? Is this a warning? Is this trying to inform me of something? I'll process it, and then I'll choose to think about something else. You don't have to dwell on those thoughts just because they come to your mind. If you don't want to think about it, you first and foremost, we need to understand why these thoughts come to our mind. And thoughts come to our mind all the time. Sometimes they're distractions to get us on a going down a rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Sometimes something comes to our mind because it's our greater being, it's God, whatever, trying to inform us of something, trying to warn us of something. And just because you ain't trying to hear it, don't mean that that's not God trying to inform you of something. Just because you ain't trying to hear this thought right now, don't mean that that's not a warning for you. You know what I mean? So you have to process it. You have to understand why this thought came to your mind in the first place. Don't be so quick and don't be so easy to dismiss everything just because you don't understand it. The truth is, we don't understand the great majority of everything. You know what I mean? But once we process it, it's like, man, I was thinking about this the other day. And man, now the understanding, now the revelation is coming to me. You know what I mean? So don't be so quick to dismiss something. Don't be so quick to be like, oh, that's a distraction. Oh, that's a distraction. Man, you're going to miss out on a lot that way. If thoughts are coming to your mind and you're like, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to think about it, man, and you never process it, you never try to understand why these thoughts are coming to your mind in the first place, man, you're going to miss out on a lot. You're going to stay ignorant to a lot of things in life. You're going to stay clueless to a lot of things in life. You have to understand why that thought is there. Where that thought is coming from. It's easy, when I used to look at women like, dang, she looked bad. Man, and the first thing went through my mind when I was younger was like, man, what I could do with that and whoop-de-whoop-de, I'm just ignorant dumb, you know what I mean? And now that I'm older, I look at women and it's like, oh, she's beautiful. That's it. That's it. Family, we have to understand that thoughts aren't a bad thing. What makes them bad, it is this thing is making something bad. It's not that the thoughts are bad, it's that our reaction to them, our response to them. You could look at a woman or you could look at a guy and be like, man, he's handsome. Man, she's beautiful. And that's fine. That's cool. That's like looking at a flower. Man, that's a pretty flower. Walking up to a flower, smelling the flower. Man, that's a beautiful smelling flower. Man, that's a pretty bird. Man, that's a beautiful butterfly. But when you sit there and you start taking those thoughts to another level, talking about, man, that's a fine dude, right? That's a fine man right there. Man, what I could do with that and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, or man, look at that sister. Man, look at what I could do with that and blah, blah, blah. Man, now you don't took it too far. You know what I mean? Now you don't went too far. You doing too much. You know what I mean? You doing too much now. How do you calm the mind? Understand the mind. You have to understand your mind. So many of us, I hear this so much. We're so scared, and you hear people talk about, man, terrified of their demons. They're terrified of their demons. And what does that mean? They're terrified of their demons, They're running from their devils. You hear these different things all the time. And what they're saying is, man, they're terrified of their thoughts. They're terrified of their thoughts. They're not terrified of no demons. They're terrified of their thoughts. They're terrified of being alone and just processing their thoughts. Yesterday I was out fishing. And man, I caught a bunch of little baby fish. And the trip is when the fish hit my pole, man, it bent my pole. And I'm like, man, this is going to be a huge fish, at least a 3 to 4 pounder. You know what I mean? Man, I go to reel it in, it's like, man, they got off. And as I keep reeling in, check my bait, I see these little 3-inch, 4-inch fish that I caught. It's like, what the hell is this? You hit my pole like you a grown man. You know what I mean? And that's all you is this little tiny thing. And as I was sitting there, I started laughing. And I started laughing because God gave me a revelation yesterday. And he showed me, he's like, look, Elijah, all the demons that people said they're scared of, all their thoughts that people are scared of facing, man, this is what their thoughts are. These little tiny fish. And I was like, what? And the truth be told, family, when we face our quote-unquote demons, they're never as bad as we think they are. They never turn out to be as big and as devastating as we think they are. We make these monsters to be these huge, big things, and they're not. We just got them portrayed in our mind. We got them played up in our head as this big thing that we can't conquer. When in reality, all they are, they hit our pole. They hit our mind with such force. Man, we thought they were this big thing. And then when you analyze it and bring it to the forefront, bring it to the conscious mind, you realize and you see it for what it really is. This little tiny thing this big. You know what I mean? It ain't no bigger than this. All the demons you running from, they're this big. You know what I mean? All the scary thoughts you're running from, man, they're this big. And I don't care what they are. I've had crazy thoughts. I've had traumatic things that I've had to endure. And I've endured them all. And people say all the time, man, Elijah, you don't look like you're 51. Man, Elijah, you don't look like you were raised in that type of environment. You don't look like you've been through all the molestations that you went through. You don't look like your father murdered your mom and, man, he was in prison and all the stuff you went through, all the heartbreaks, all the rejections, all the loss of loved ones and all this other stuff. You don't look like you've gone through all of that. You don't talk like you've gone through all that. You don't act like you've gone through all that. Man, those are tiny little monsters. They were tiny little demons. Family, we have to learn to take control over our life. And we learn to take control over our life by processing our thoughts. Understanding why we have them. Understanding where they originated. And why they're here at this particular time. As long as you keep avoiding them, they're going to keep coming. And they're going to keep scaring the hell out of you. Until you learn to face them. Until you learn to deal with them. And see them for what they really are. You're going to live terrified. You're going to live a life without any peace, without any joy. You're going to live a life of frustration and having to find ways to cope just to have some type of peace. Whether that's popping pills, whether that's drinking, whether that's smoking, whatever it is, you're going to have to do a whole bunch of different stuff to have some peace of mind. My hope and prayer is that you understand that there's nothing wrong with thoughts coming to your mind. That's normal. That's okay. You don't have to dwell on them. But you do need to process them. You do need to understand why they're there. And you have to stop being afraid of facing those thoughts. Because as long as you're afraid of facing those thoughts, they're never going to stop haunting you. They're never going to give you peace. They're never going to give you the joy and the life lessons that you are supposed to get. Family, we all sit around and we all know people that are loud and obnoxious, and man, they bully people, and they're the loudest, most obnoxious, annoying people, and it's just, yeah, 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 all bark. All bark. But they ain't really about nothing. They ain't really got no bite. That's the same way as these quote unquote demons. That's the same way as these thoughts that we run away from, that we're terrified of. They make a whole lot of noise, but there's no bite to them. There's no substance to them for the most part. We've convinced ourselves that they're these big giant beings, these mountains that we can't overcome, these obstacles that are unpenetrable. You know what I mean? We made them out to be these massive things that we can't face, that we can't deal with. And because we've made them to be that way in our mind, they're going to stay that way in our mind until we change our mind. My hope and prayer is that you learn how to calm your mind. And how you calm your mind is just sitting there and facing whatever it is that's coming to you. It's like that rock again. You throw a rock in the water, man, you just got to sit there and wait it out. Once that rock hit the water, there's no stopping the little ripples effect. You can't stop the ripple effects once that rock hit the water. It is what it is. It's got to play out. Once that thought hits your mind, it is what it is. It has to play out. Are you going to benefit from that thought coming to your mind? Or are you going to see it as a distraction? Or are you going to see it as something different? However you see it is how you're going to react to it. You see it as a monster, you see it as a distraction, you see it as what you, man, that's how you're going to respond to it. But before you do that, my hope and prayer is that you learn to be able to process it and understand it and see it for what it really is. Because maybe it's a warning, maybe it's a lesson for you. Maybe it's some insight that you need to gain. And maybe it's a distraction, simply there to test you. I love you guys. Happy healing. Peace.